Welcome, guys, to Metalarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Wolverine, this new upcoming album, Anomalies, and more things related to the metal world in general. So we started by asking, how are you doing today, and how is the band during the last couple years? Because your previous EP was released in 2021, A Darkened Sun.
Yeah, it's been a while. Uh, the thought about making the EP was that okay, maybe we should release an EP so we can get something out faster. But then our dear bass player had the brilliant idea to make a movie, which
Mhm.
which made it just
Mhm.
as just as complicated as recording a full album, if
Mhm.
not even more complicated. So well, we take our time all the time,
Mhm.
and there is life and stuff in between, and so yeah, stuff takes time in our world.
Mm. Okay. Well, in now for these anomalies, it has been a decade since Machine Beaver was released in 2016. And now, how does it feel to step back into spotlight with anomalies into this 2026?
Well, it has been you know it, it has been in the making for a while, so it feels good to finally release it and have it finished. I think
I think
we
the
are
oldest song on the album was written back in 18, I think. Is that,
probably.
yeah, Scarlet Tide. So it's definitely been in the making for quite some time. So I think it feels really, really great to finally be back again. And we actually got our album copies today. So today is the first time we actually saw the physical albums. So that's really cool.
Hmm. Okay, I understand. Now, critics are calling tracks like This World and all its dancing lights emotional slow burners. So, what is this thematic core of this record?
Well, should you say that, Stefan, or should I?
You do. You do.
Yeah, I think the thematical, you know, things about this album in general is about getting older, and about the world of today with all the, especially the song "This World and All Its Dazzling Lights" is about the information noise of today. The information overload of the screens and the social media and everything that is it's crowded.
Mm.
Yeah, and that song is like a high of dopamine from, just as Marcus said, going through life with past, how do you call it? All the information, all the social media, it's what we live kind of more through the digital life today than the real world. And especially as a parent, I think that's troublesome, looking at the children, how they are raised today with their nose in the screen from a very young age, and not being able to, they have a short attention span, and I'm afraid the way they learn things today comes in small doses. I don't know if they are really able to absorb a longer, like, reading a book,
Mhm.
simple stuff like that. It's everything has to be fast and easy in a way.
Hmm. Okay. There is a track titled Automaton. So that is strictly minimalist. So how did that come together?
It's a song I wrote, actually, and it's also based around the themes of it's more about today's how we see work. We're going to work, and we are behaving in a way like automatons. Everything is, we are inside of a machine, so to speak, and everything has routines, and everything is like in a grid, if you know what I mean. And with all this of today, with automation in manufacturing industries and AI, and we are, in a sense, more like machines today than humans as well. So we're behaving as the AI in a way. So it's about that, the feeling of that we don't control ourselves in that sense.
Okay. So Wolverine is known for taking time between albums. How has your personal relationship with time and patience changed between Máquina Viva and releases or anomalies?
Well, it hasn't changed. We have we have had the same relationship for quite some time. We are five totally different individuals, and with different perspectives on life, and sometimes that makes it hard to just get together and do stuff. So I guess, yeah, life comes in between when we're trying to do stuff, so it takes time.
And I also think that, like everyone that gets older, you kind of get the sense that time is like moving faster and faster. Like 5 years today is, nothing compared to 5 years, 25 years ago. You experience time in a different way. So I think that I have a hard time grasping that it's been 10 years since we released Máquina Viva. So it's, in a way, it kind of feels like it just moves faster and faster.
Okay. Now, other detail that I've been reading in a lot of reviews, Stefan, is your vocals are often described as deeply vulnerable. So, how do you prepare yourself mentally to record tracks that demand such emotional transparency?
I don't know if I prepared that much. It's just, I mean, I write most of the lyrics, so it's, it comes easy because I'm kind of in the song already. So yeah, no really preparation for that. It's just, connecting to what the song is about, and do your best. Then of course you're just happy that it turns out good, because I mean it takes a while to record the vocals, and I also do all the backing vocals. So it's, when you're in the process, it's kind of interesting that in the end it actually conveys some emotion, because it's a lot of repetition, and I don't know if you have recorded yourself, but sometimes it's painstakingly, and just takes a lot of time. But I'm really, really happy with how the vocals turned out, and a big part of it is that I was able to record with Oliver Phillips again, who also the singer of Everon. We recorded most of our albums with him, not Máquina Viva though. But this time around, when we had Mascot as a label to back us up financially, we could afford to work with Oliver again, and I feel that he really brings out the best in me. So I give a lot of credit to him as well.
Okay. Well, another thing that I've been reading in those reviews is critics mention a lot of times the wall of sound in this new record. So how do you balance heavy progressive elements with the delicate electronic textures Per brings to the core to the keyboards?
That's for you, Marcus.
I think dynamics is key. You know, you make the heavy parts heavy, and you make the soft parts soft. So you have a contrast in the dynamics. I think that's the key to, and also to pay attention to and be sensible about putting in the details, so to speak. Maybe you know, put some more air in stuff to fit more stuff in, so to speak. If you know what I mean.
Okay, I understand. So now, the lyrics on this album often touch to the concept of being lost, disconnected. For example, the song "Nightfall" is one example for that, loss or disconnected of this. A lot of things. So does the title "Anomalies" suggest that you found beauty in being an outlier, or is a critique to modern society?
I think it was me who came up with the name, but I think everyone can. It has different meanings. One meaning is that you can see it as the songs are anomalies a bit to each other. They are, you know, slightly different from each other. It's not really, you know, the same song all over the album. But we also view it as we are anomalies within the band. You know, we are five totally different individuals, we are anomalies to each other, so to speak. And yeah, there are many. It's multi-layered meaning, and
connecting to what you say about and it's anyone who knows us and the process of writing songs knows that, you know, every detail is hashed over and over again, and everyone has opinions about it. So it's really blood, sweat, and tears to get the songs together. But the upside of that, I think, is that in the end, we can all really stand by what we have created. So it's painstakingly to write an album with Wolverine, and just like Marcus said, we're kind of anomalies to each other. But in the end, I think it's worth it, and it's kind of shows on the result that it's something that we all can be proud of.
Okay, I completely understand. So now also other thing that captured my attention is your bass, Stefan. Lines often provide a melancholic counterpoint to the vocals. So how do you manage the dual role of being a rhythmic anchor and the emotional lead simultaneously? Yeah.
I
Can
don't.
you? Yeah,
So
I didn't hear the question.
how do you manage the dual role to being a rhythmic anchor with emotional weight to sing in your, like, how do you play, like when you play bass you have a lot of textures, but at the same time when you sing you like you feel you sing like emotional things.
Okay, you mean Stefan was a bass player once in the 90s, but today we have a different bass player. So today I think he can focus totally on the vocals.
Okay.
But I don't really understand the question.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but I can say that as for me, I'm not. How do you say? I'm Marcus is more like, you know, musically adept than I am. I mean, as the drummer, he knows all the rhythms and stuff like that. He's also very involved in writing the songs as of chords and harmony, stuff like that. I don't really know music theory myself. So for me, it's all about just finding the melody that feels right to me. But really, no thought about, rhythmically, stuff like that, music theory. It's more just a feeling. And I know that for some of the songs, the vocal lines that I come up with, Marcus tells me they are totally unlogical compared to how the song actually is written, how the chords are shaped, how the rhythm is built. I think, what song is it that we talk about a lot, Marcus?
It's in the verses of a song called "In Memory of Me" from the album Communication Lost. That verse is totally, a person that normally, knows music theory and stuff would never have written a verse like that. But and I think that's to Stefan's advantage, that he actually wrote a verse that is totally, unexpected in that context.
Yeah.
So it's a strength.
Okay. Now, so now you are releasing these anomalies in the era of streaming, and obviously this the span attention and the fast singles nowadays. But you continue to bet to release a full album, especially in a full album and progress. So in this kind of and for this kind of situation, do you believe that the prog listener is that the last bastion that truly appreciate a complete work from the beginning to the end?
Maybe there is probably more music genres that it can relate to, like jazz or something like that. But I think this also has to do with the attention spans of today and what we are writing about, the noise of today, and that people just don't have time for anything. They don't take time to actually listen to stuff, and everything has to be quick. And so I think, maybe prog fans are the last bastion for that. I don't know, but maybe.
Could be.
Okay. So if you have to define the essence of the band in a single word for someone who has never heard Wolverine, so what will it be and why?
Oh my.
That was a difficult question. But well, just music, maybe. In either you like
real.
it, yeah. It's from us. It's we're doing it for, basically, first and foremost, for ourselves, and if anyone else likes it, it's just a bonus for us. So
it's honest, maybe.
Yeah,
it's
honest.
Yeah, like you say, it's straight from us. We don't have any illusions that we're going to make a living of the music anymore. Maybe we had when we were like in our 20s, but not anymore. So we truly create the music for ourselves and to ourselves, and then we are thrilled that people like it as well, of course. But it's a cliche, but we need to, if we aim to please others, we end up pleasing no one. So it's really, I think that summarizes it.
Okay. So now talking about more the future, and especially for this new album and Wolverine. So with the 2026 tour approaching, are there specific venues, countries that you are looking forward to visit where the prog community feels particularly vibrant?
Well, for touring plans, we don't have any direct touring plans, but if there will be any, opportunities for it, we will certainly look at it, but it's not really in our plans at the moment, but it might be.
Yeah, we're not signed to any booking agency either, so it's all managed by on our own, so to speak, which of course makes it a bit harder, especially since we all have daytime jobs, families, and so on.
Okay. So, talking about for especially now for another kind of songs, especially because when I read a lot of your songs in the past, many of your songs deal with isolation. So after the global events of the last few years, so do you find that your older lyrics have taken a prophetic or different meaning for you personality?
Maybe.
Uh,
I don't know. Our albums are like you could see them as snippets from time. Uh, it when we wrote a specific album, we wrote that was that moment. So you could watch our albums sort of like a diary of ourselves, where we were at that moment
yeah,
in
because
time.
almost every song is like drawn from an event in our lives. It might be a relationship or something happening in life. So yeah, I think it's like Marcus says, it's more like a diary. Uh,
Okay. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I understand. So if you could go back to the recording sessions, for example, for a window purpose, what advice would you give your younger selves about the realities of the music industry now?
uh, Sign better record deals, maybe, would be a an advice. Um, Else, I wouldn't know, because we are always in different phases in life. Like for when we recorded Window Purpose, we were in our 20s, and you had one you had one kind of perspective when you're 20, and we have a slightly different perspective now when we are over 40.
Mhm.
So it's I don't think you could change anything, really. Everything has to have its time and place.
Mhm.
Because that time made us evolve into what we are today in some way.
One thing that I kind of have regrets about, at the same time, I'm not sure how we would get the story to evolve in another direction. But I mean, around Window Purpose, Cold Out Monday, and still we always thought that we were onto something and that we were, gonna get tours and stuff, but it kind of never happened. So that's, I don't know how I would change it, but maybe, like you said, Marcus, maybe we should have signed to a label more focused on our kind of music instead of, like, we were on a death metal label and stuff like that. I don't know, but that's something I would have wished turned out differently, at least.
Okay. Well, other thing I read a lot of people said about Wolverine is that you often been called as a musician's band. So that's that label feel like a compliment, or does it make you feel like your music is viewed as overly intellectual?
I don't think we are overly intellectual. I don't even consider us like a musician's band really, because at least maybe we wanted to be perceived as that in our 20s, but I think today we write songs just for the song's sake, with the song is king in a way, and then the musicianship comes after that in a bit, because the song dictates what kind of musicianship there should be. Like an example, the song Automaton is a good example of that, because there is not much instruments in it. It's just a piano and some synths and vocals. So there is really not. It's just about the song, really.
And even though on our like Win of Purpose, maybe we were influenced by, at least some of us were influenced by bands like Fate's Warning, Dream Theater, and stuff like that. So there was some intention of like going in that direction, but at the same time I kind of feel that we have always prioritized the feel of the song more than the technical side of it. So I would say like emotion and melody has always been more important, at least to me, than some technical brilliance.
Okay, I understand completely. So we are very close to this interview, guys. And while bands like, for example, At the Gaze, Entombed, Dark Funeral, and many more represent the aggressive side of the Swedish metal, Wolverine represents the blue, or for example, the melancholic side of there. So is this sadness a reflection of the Swedish landscape, or is it purely internal?
I think there is some Swedish mindset involved unconsciously, probably. And the dark winters and cold, contributes to that. And also there was uh, some research some years ago that the Swedish people are the most or the loneliest people in the world, because there's the most people that live alone in Sweden, and we don't seem to have any problems with it either. So it maybe that has something to do with it as well. I don't know, and maybe there is so little to do here, so we're bored, so we have to do something to create music or whatever, to
But
pass time.
but it's kind of interesting, I think, because in the end I think we are as individuals kind of easygoing people. It's not that we're always in a dark place, the band members, but it really comes natural, this melancholy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I understand. So now, one of the last questions for this interview, guys. You said it about the Wolverine and about the lyrics and about each album are like diaries on your lives. So, but each diary has, for example, a peak of an experience. It's completely normal in their lives. We have some people married, some people have families, how some people have great jobs. And for Wolverine is the same. So you reach and some point of your life you reach the best perhaps for the best album, the best song. We don't know. You have more you know more than me that information. So if we select the peak of the diaries that you wrote during all more than 31 years now. 31. Which album will be, or for you, which songs will be for Wolverine?
Okay,
The,
you mean the best in our mind, the best
correct,
album we have. Okay.
correct.
I think for me, it's always the latest one that is the best one, I think, because it's the most fresh in my mind. But in retrospect, maybe Communication Lost would be an album that I would, rate highly in my retirement years or whatever. I don't know, but yeah. So it's I think time will tell which one is the best, yeah,
And
or which one stands the test of time.
yeah, and I also agree that some of the songs on Communication Lost for me personally is like some of the most important songs I ever written, because my daughter was born around that time with a heart failure.
So, well, Marcus, we are right to the sad moment of this interview. Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to speak with you, obviously with Stefan more. Perhaps do you want to add congratulations on this Anomalies is a great one. Perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metal Hero followers.
Well, we hope you enjoy the album and listen to it with an open mind, and just enjoy the music, I would say.